Welcome to Freelance Sucks. Here we discuss the dark side of freelancing about which nobody usually talks out loud. In this show, we speak with experienced freelancers, and I'm sure listening to their stories helps you prepare for freelancers' challenges. My name is Yuri, I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Almir Bijedic, the web all-rounder, experienced freelancer, speaker, mountain biker, fan of 90s cinema, and the fully stack web engineer. So, welcome, Almir.
Thank you. Hi.
I love so much. I recently went through your website, and first of all, Brick Breaker game is amazing. And secondly, I love foolish stack web engineer. It's awesome. And let's start with the first question. So, for you, what is the most challenging part of being a freelancer?
Charging. Like I hear a lot of these very often when I say that I'm freelancer, people are like, "Oh, but that's very stressful, looking for new projects. Are you gonna get it? Are you not gonna get it?" I personally, the majority of the time, never had problems with that. The problems I did have also not very often, but this one time was quite a big one and enough to make me kind of remember it in a darkly view because the client just didn't pay like a huge amount of money.
Hmm.
And yeah, it felt more like being scammed rather than anything else. So ever since then, sometimes I would have to like be reluctant about pushing my code and when am I gonna send the invoice and stuff like that. It makes you a little bit stressed and spending time on unnecessary stuff that usually should be pretty easy. One time I spent a whole 30 minutes or an hour just going scrolling through Slack of this client that I work and taking screenshots of everything because it's in case shit hit the fans. It's an important part of having as a proof in case you get like in conversation with lawyers and such.
Mhm. Did you finally get paid for that?
No. So I never got paid for that. So, yeah, they paid partially, and then basically they were extending the they were delaying they started at some point delaying the monthly payment, and then the
Mm.
last 2 and something months that I worked were just they never paid for it. I did go to the lawyers, and I got to a point where I had to decide, okay, am I gonna be spending time and energy to get this back or to
Yeah.
just earn this money again? And I just preferred to spend it in a more fun way than writing huge letters and retelling the history to lawyers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I believe that some bad clients are really using it because, like there is so hard to get paid. And after this happened, did you change anything in your charging process?
So yeah, no, I mean not necessarily, but I've been more careful like about what's the time period that I'm max gonna allow without taking certain measures. So I would not again if a month passes and I'm not getting the invoice for the full month, I would probably not continue working until at least that one is solved. So I'm trying to make some sort of a cushion of what's the maximum that I'm prepared to lose.
Hmm.
Also, I do try to take more proof of because these guys, everything was actually going pretty good. We were very friendly and everything. And then one day they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna be ending this project still in a very friendly way, removed me from Slack. And then I
In
did
a
not
very
have a
friendly
single
way.
proof of anything, you know? So I do take caution sometimes to take more, just screenshots, proof of what's been going on. But yeah, it's also worth saying that ever since then, something similar never happened. Not to me, but yeah, but also like I was mentioning in the previous episode, I was mentioning this freelance group that I was working with. So back then it wasn't related to me, but they got multiple times kind of scammed, not getting paid by the client. So it's something definitely that happens. As a matter of fact, I think if a freelancer has a lot of different clients and different projects, it might even be something that needs to be calculated in the yearly income that one of these projects might not get paid, right?
Yeah, totally. And from your experience, what is the percentage of this calculation should be added?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not like I'm saying this because that's how usually businesses do it, right? Like if you Amazon, they're gonna take into calculation some of the stuff that's gonna just be, lost and returned and but I don't actually do it. Um,
Got
Also,
it.
that's the advantage of having the middleman, like 9 a.m., right? Like it's at least at least for the freelancer it gets better. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how it works. Like the freelance, does it happen like with clients that sometimes they wouldn't pay and then you do pay the freelancer, but don't get money from the client? How does that work? Does it happen?
I feel like yes. I'm not sure how it works exactly. Like, I don't know, about the moments if I definitely sure there were some moments when like code control paid to freelancers and then got asked this money from the client, definitely. But in general, I feel like it's just code control paying to freelancers and then receiving this money from client. So it's like, adding some safety pillar. But in general, I don't know about bad things. So I will ask, it's a good question. I will prepare for the next time better. I will ask how it works. But in general, yes, it's something like we're proposing as a service, like you're getting paid on time and all this stuff. So, but it's not about us today, it's all about you. So tell me, what is the most time-consuming thing you must deal as a freelancer?
I mean, that's the good part of freelancing, that some of the overhead that you would have in a company. I mean, assuming that freelancer most often means also remote. So some of the overhead as an employee or as an on-site worker is actually gone. So the most time consuming is doing the actual work, right? There are these times again. I think I was pretty lucky in the past where I had moments where I would finish one project and I would write a message to one person and literally the next day I'm starting a new project. So most often it was not very time consuming to look for projects. As a matter of fact, they were more coming just like that rather than having to look for them. It did change a little bit in the past 6, 7 months, like the tech
Mhm.
bubble bursting, whatever. You could, I can feel that there are less projects coming in and less investors willing to give money just like that into a product. So right now it might be a little bit different, but most of the time, most of the time, that most time consuming task would be just doing the actual work, right?
Yeah, totally. I feel like it's the best, when you can just focus on your work, forget about finding projects, forget about doing taxes, forget about getting paid when it's everything on time, and you just like, relax and do what you really love to do. And what is the most nerve consuming thing?
And that again does not differ much, freelancer or not freelancer. It's the usual stuff that you would encounter as a normal employee as well. So whatever is usually nerve-wracking for you on a normal job, it will be pretty much similar as a freelancer.
Yeah, but I feel like freelancers has, more pressure, and also they're freer. So what I really love myself about freelancing, that I can be super open with other teams and with founders. So I can like tell them what I really think, not like thinking about how to uh, have my place and how to please everyone. But if I see that something is not going right, I can tell, hey folks, it's not going right. We need to fix it. Let's do it.
Right. So you mean you can be more open towards freelance, more direct if you have a freelancer and right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And as a freelancer, do you ever feel professional loneliness?
Yeah, definitely. That's actually something that's actual now again. I did have a problem where it would be just too lonely, looking for usually the way I try to solve it is I'm not a huge fan of working from home. I
Mhm.
actually don't like at all work. I'm trying to avoid it completely because I I'm not having a separate room
Mm.
in the apartment only as the office. In that case, it might work, but it's still probably not ideal. So I'm also not a huge fan of co-working spaces, at least not the ones I can find in Vienna. They pretty much feel most often like a regular office where it's very quiet and not many things going on. So my preferred way of working is just finding a cafe where people
Mhm.
work from. And I'm lucky to be living in the part of the city where there's actually a bunch of those. So there are cafes where almost at any time you can go in. There's gonna be at least one, two persons, other persons with laptops, or sometimes even like, I don't know, five of them or whatever. As a matter of fact, I've been having a problem that I would sometimes switch like two or three of these cafes per day. And if the coffee is like 4 or 5 euros, it becomes the most expensive co-working space. So I've been trying to figure out if there's something like, so that's a problem, and if other people are having this problem, there's a solution to it, right? So I've been even thinking of trying to start some membership and then maybe potentially some follow-up app that helps with that, so that people can actually work from cafes, not having to spend more money than it would be to work in a co-working space.
Wow, it sounds amazing. Can you imagine a cafe application, cafe membership, when like you just, go check in and then like they bring you your favorite coffee and you can connect with people and there are like monthly gatherings and all the stuff. So it sounds like community.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to figure out now. If there, I checked a couple different, like it seems like the only people that like doing that, the only place where I can find them are actually in cafes. Because whenever I tried asking someone else, most people don't actually like or do that. So it seems that to get to these people, I literally have to just like go directly to them.
Yeah, definitely. And Tell me, if your friend wanted to become a freelancer, what are top 3 things you'd advise them to consider before doing it?
So I was saying how this insecurity is not a problem necessarily. It was not a problem necessarily, but I would definitely give them a heads up that that's a thing
Mhm.
and that they would have to be ready for that. That would probably be also it would actually mostly be good things. Also, if they are prepared to be dealing with the administration and the taxes on their own. But again, I see that like when I started being a freelancer, I actually liked it a lot. That I finally could see and understand why am I paying taxes? What are they exactly being paid for?
Mhm.
And when a company gives you like, hey, you can have gym for free, or you can have this for free or that for free, I realized how it actually works. I did not understand that before becoming a freelancer. And I was like, oh, okay, I prefer to pick my own, you know, what's gonna be what and what am
Mhm.
I gonna be spending for the business. So, but then again, some people don't want to deal with that. They prefer that having that dealt by someone else. So yeah, the uncertainty, the extra administration, I think those would be the two main things.
Got it. Almir, I really wish to have the sky is the limit, but time is the limit. So the final question, if you were starting freelancing today, is there one thing you would have done differently?
Um, I would I would probably be charging more since the beginning. Like I think I was doing a little bit too low in the beginning and kind of not believing in myself some sort of so that would be kind of another advice for someone starting out. Like don't devalue yourself, but try to find out objectively how much your time is worth and how much time are you really spending on the project, because it's not only it's hard, it's very easy to get distracted by how much time we're actually spending on the project when working remotely. And as a freelancer, you don't count in all of those minutes and hours when you
Yeah,
are just thinking about it while walking around your home or whatever. There's a bunch of these little things. It's just important to be aware how much time are we really dedicating to this project, even if we are not in the office.
totally agree. And thank you so much for sharing your challenges and for having such an open conversation.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button or 5 stars and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.